I'll ask you a few questions, okay? You can tell me what you think about it, right? So, have you ever felt ignored even when you really needed help?
Not really. I can't remember.
Okay, can't remember.
So
What about you,
Yes.
Tanya? Yes. And you, yeah?
Can't remember.
You can't remember, okay. Okay. Have you ever done something mean just because you were angry or tired?
I guess yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Like what? Like
Be honest.
what? Vian?
Like sometimes I get angry because of something, and then I start being mean because I'm annoyed, even if the other person hasn't done anything.
You're annoyed with that person, yeah. Yes. And what about you, Tanya? Have you ever done something mean just because you were angry or tired? Like what?
I'm not telling you that.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Okay, next question. Would you apologize if you hurt someone's feeling by accident?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe saying sorry makes you stronger or weaker?
Stronger. Stronger.
Makes you feel stronger if you say sorry to someone?
Yes.
Have you judged someone too quickly before knowing their full story?
No.
Not really. Not really.
No.
Okay, some yes, some no.
Some yes, some no. Yeah. So, sometimes you don't have these clear-cut answers, or sometimes the questions are very tricky, and we don't know. We have to really dig deep to understand, what is the right ethical answer for it. So it's very easy to approach a teacher. We should always approach a teacher for guidance, and then guidance can come through either books or teachers or parents or our environment. And the knowledge that we get through these mentors is very priceless, and then we should feel gratitude for that, remember? So then in order to pay our gratitude to our teachers, we'll do a short prayer. You fold your hands, close your eyes, and you repeat after me, okay? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So yesterday we had finished the class. We had discussed about that baby who was in the womb of his mother. And mother's name was Uttara, and the baby's name was Pariksit. So now that baby takes birth and he's born, and I'm going to tell you something about Pariksit, okay? And something about the greatness of Pariksit. We all have pet names, right? So when he grew up, he was also called Vishnu Ratha. Vishnu Ratha was his second name. What does it mean? Vishnu Ratha means somebody who is protected by Vishnu. So it holds very, very true to his life, right? He was protected in his mother's womb by who? By Krishna. Krishna is also known as Vishnu. And when children are born, then usually we always get that, we always call the astrologer and get the horoscope, right?
Yeah.
So his astrologer, when he was born, there was an astrologer who came and told his future. And he said that this little baby, he's going to grow up to a first class devotee. He'll grow up and become a great devotee of Lord Krishna. So yesterday we had briefly discussed who's a devotee, right? And you all told me something, right? What do you think is a devotee of the Lord?
Somebody who surrenders himself to the Lord.
Okay.
Somebody who's plays a lot and wants to respect God.
Very good. And Vaira, can you tell me something? Who do you think will be a good devotee of the Lord? Like all of you are devotees of the Lord. So what is the quality of a devotee? A devotee,
Kind to all of you.
yeah, he's kind to everyone, all living entities, and he always remembers Krishna and
He
never,
or she.
yeah, he or she always remembers Krishna and never forgets Krishna. So we can remember this definition of a devotee, isn't it? Like somebody who always remembers Krishna and never forgets Krishna. Okay? So he was a first class, like the best devotee of Krishna, and he had all the good qualities that is required to be a good human being and also to be a good king. So the qualities of a good human being, what are the qualities? How can you become a very nice, good human being? Yes.
Be kind to everyone, respect everyone, and listen to everyone.
Very good. Yes, Kabir?
I was about to say the same thing.
Oh, he said the same thing. Okay. Okay, yes. You tell me, Hannah.
People who don't disrespect others,
Hmm?
and
Yes.
people who are always like being kind and helping others.
Excellent, excellent.
Same.
Same? And Tanya, you have some inputs? Same? Okay. So, as you all mentioned, that he was very kind, he was very compassionate, he was also tolerant, and he was very humble as a person. So, these are very, very good qualities. And he was very charitable also. Like if somebody came for shelter, would want shelter from him, would want something from him, he would give it in charity. And he was basically, he's the next ruler, right? He would rule the entire earth, which means all the 7 continents. So he's very, very powerful, and he's a very virtuous person, just like his ancestors. Who are his ancestors? Who were his
The Pandavas.
yes, his ancestors were Pandavas, and he would always take guidance from his teachers. You know, the Brahmins would always guide him, and he was very, very truthful. Another very good quality of a devotee is that he's very truthful, and he never harms anybody unnecessarily. Okay. And he was very strong, because after all he's a warrior also, right? He has to protect the entire kingdom and all his citizens who take shelter under him. So he is very, very strong, like a lion, and he's a great archer. Okay, like our young Kabir, who does martial arts. So he's very good at that also, exactly like how Kabir is. Okay, so, and he's also very bold, when he has to punish a wrongdoer, he's very strict with that person also. We will see later on how, yesterday we had mentioned briefly that how he kept Kali at bay. The Kali Yuga, with all its bad qualities, wanted to, because it was the time for Kali to come, because Dwapar Yuga had ended, and after Dwapar Yuga is Kali Yuga, right? But he was keeping the Kali Yuga at bay by his good qualities. He was ruling his kingdom so wisely that the bad qualities were not entering into the citizens' mind, and they were all very, very truthful, very, very kind, and they all also used to imbibe the same qualities as their king Pariksit. Okay, and but then the astrologers are mentioning all this. Okay, remember, these are the good qualities, but at the end they also mention that he will be cursed by someone.
By a rishi called.
He will be cursed, but they got really worried. His family got really worried that this little boy who was born, he's going to be so nice, such a good king, but then why will he be cursed? But then the astrologers said that don't worry, he'll be cursed, but then he will detach himself and he will surrender to the Lord. So he will always be very, very close to Krishna. He will always remember Krishna, and even if when he will have this problem in a situation like this, he will never forget Krishna. Okay, so then they were pacified. They said as long as he remembers Krishna, nothing wrong can happen to him. Okay, and then so yesterday we we discussed that, Parikshit always, when he was a little baby in his mother's womb, he saw Krishna, right?
Yeah.
So he never forgot Krishna. He always remembered the beautiful form of the Lord because it was so attractive. So when he was born also, he would examine everybody and see whether this person is Krishna. This person is Krishna. Every time he used to keep looking whether this one is Krishna, this one is Krishna, like that. So Parikshit actually means somebody who examines and who's always wondering if Krishna is that, if this person is Krishna or not.
Exam,
So
pariksha.
he's always doing pariksha. He's always examining others. Okay? So just to tell you that he became a very, very virtuous king as he grew up, and then he also had four sons, and their names were Janamejaya, Bhimasena, Ugrasena, and Shrutasena. So he had these wonderful children who were as good as him, and they really took care of the kingdom. Yeah, and they really took care of the kingdom when Parikshit had to leave, right? So now I'll tell you how Parikshit got this, curse, and how everything happened. All the sequence I'll tell you. Okay. So once upon a time, King Parikshit, he had gone for a hunting expedition, right? Because he's a warrior, right? Warriors are called as Kshatriyas. So a Kshatriya has to do all these things, So he had gone for a hunting expedition, and it was a very, very hot and humid day, just like today. And he was feeling thirsty, very, very thirsty, especially by mid-morning when the sun is really, really high in the sky and it's really, really hot. He was really feeling thirsty. So at a distance, while he was searching for a water reservoir, he saw a little hermitage of a rishi. Usually these rishis, they do a lot of meditation in the forest in a quiet place. So there was a nice little cottage, and this rishi was sitting outside his hut, inside his premises of his hermitage, and he was meditating. So he had his eyes half closed, and he was sitting in an erect position like this, and he was meditating on the syllable Om. How do we do Om meditation in yoga? You do like this, right? Right? So he was doing exactly like this, and he was fully in trance. You could make out by looking at his posture that he was totally meditating. He didn't know what was happening around him. Sometimes when we are fully engrossed, we don't know what's happening around us. Like when we are reading a book, right? We just get inside the story so much that we forget to eat, we forget to sleep, right? Especially when you're reading like the books that you mentioned yesterday, such interesting books, right? So exactly, yes, Maita?
I was just saying this.
Yeah, and so exactly like that, he was meditating on the Lord, and he was totally in trance. He was not aware that King Parikshit has entered his hermitage, and he's asking for something. And this rishi's name was, you can try to remember his name. His name was Shamika Rishi. Okay, Shamika Rishi, and he was meditating like that. And then normally what would a king do is show respect to the rishi, but today, because he was really, really impelled by thirst, he was getting a little irritated, because if suppose somebody comes to your house, you'll definitely greet that person, you'll ask that person, okay, what is the reason of your coming, okay? But this rishi was totally silent, nothing he was saying. And so then, out of irritation, King Parikshit announced his presence to the rishi. So rishi is sitting there with his eyes half closed, but then Parikshit Maharaja is saying, okay, listen, I am King Parikshit, and I have come to offer you respect, but I also request your hospitality. I want you to give me some water. I'm really, really thirsty. But sage Shamika is as I told you, he's so much engrossed in his meditation that he can't listen to him also. So then King Pariksit again addressed him. He said, I'm sure you are a sage of such high caliber, so you definitely know how to respect a guest who has come to your house. Like we see how Rich Auntie is so hospitable. When you come, she's always smiling. She always gives you a hug. She always offers you something, some water. She gives you a seat to sit, nice place. The AC is on. You're feeling so, happy and rested. But he's not getting all this reciprocation from Shamika Rishi, and he's getting really, really impatient now because of the silence of, what's the name of the Rishi?
Shamita.
Yes, and because he's tired, he's thirsty, and he, what he does, he feels a little insulted, and what he does is he strides out of the hut. But while he's going out, he sees a dead snake, and because he thinks that I got such a cold reception from the sage, I think it really suits him if I just pick up this dead snake from he kind of places his bow, and he lifts up that dead snake and he puts it on the Rishi's neck, around the Rishi's neck, as if he's garlanding him. So and he thinks that it's absolutely okay because the Rishi did not receive me properly, so this is a good way of giving him back, right? And then he rides back. He goes back to his palace in Hastinapur, and the moment he reaches his palace, he thinks for a while. He ponders a little bit. He thinks about his actions, and he thinks that he's not done the right thing. He made a mistake.
So when he goes back, he's gonna be cursed.
Yeah, Vian, what are you saying?
So when he goes back, he's probably gonna get cursed by
Yeah, good guess. So he begins to actually regret his rash decision, right? His act was really rash, just because he was feeling a little thirsty and he was a little tired and fatigued. He made this huge thing of insulting the Rishi like that, no, in a way. So he feels that he actually did this foolish act, but now he cannot undo it, right? Because in anger he did it. Now he can't undo it. So what to do? Then what happened when he left? King Pariksit left that area, right? And he went back to his palace. That moment somebody was watching this whole thing. There was a young boy who was standing behind the bushes and all, and he had watched the entire episode. And you know what he did? He quickly ran where Shamika Rishi's son, Shringi, was. The son's name is Shringi. And he ran there and he told Shringi that this is what happened with your father. This is how your father was insulted by the king. So Shringi became really, really, really angry, like more angry than Pariksit was. He became so angry that he started breathing heavily, and he started criticizing the king with very, very harsh words. He said, "How dare the king did this to my father? My father is so great, and what does the king think of himself? Just because he's the king of the entire
What
world."
does Sringi think of himself? He's just a Brahmin.
Yeah, but the Brahmins had a lot of piety, and the Brahmins were at the top of the whole Varnashram system. Like the whole system, the Brahmins were at the top, and then the Kshatriyas. Okay, so they knew that because without the Brahmins, the kings could not act. They could not make any decisions. They needed spiritual guidance all the time. That is why the Brahmanas were considered more exalted and more qualified than the king. So the king was always dependent on the Brahmanas, right? So he was actually feeling proud about his position, and he said that the king has to pay a price for this, because he insulted and he showed such a sinful behavior, even though he's one of the royal kings. He really behaved really badly. Now he has to pay a price. And he said, this is not at all etiquette that you're going to somebody's house without invitation, and then you're not even paying respects to that person. So this is not at all good. And whatever the king did was really bad. And he said, okay, I think this king is not fit to be a king, and he cursed the king. And what was the curse? The curse
He died
was,
7 days.
yeah, the curse was that King Pariksit will die in 7 days from the day, huh?
How did he die on the curse?
Yeah, because the Brahmins were very powerful. They
They have
had
mystic
this,
powers, spiritual.
yeah, they had these spiritual mystic powers, and if they're really happy with you, then they'll really bless you, and that blessing will come true. But if they are not happy with you and you've done some offense, something really wrong to them, then they become really angry and they curse you, and that curse will also come true. Nobody can reverse that curse, and these Brahmins are really powerful.
They can modify the curse, but they cannot reverse it.
Yes, sometimes they modify the curse or make it less severe, but they cannot reverse it. You're right, Vian. So Shringi's curse was that on the 7th day, King Pariksit would die. How? He will be bit by a snake bird. Snake bird means a
Flying.
creature which is
Flying
half,
snake.
huh?
Flying snake.
Flying snake. A creature which is half snake and half bird. Can you imagine?
I know how it looks. I think there's a bird face still here, and then there's a tail at the back like a snake.
Absolutely. Yes. Half bird and half snake. Very intelligent.
I was thinking first that there's a snake face in the front, and then there's the wings at the back.
Yeah. So either it can be front, it can be the bird or the snake, or snake in the front, bird at the back, but it has to be like a half bird and a half snake. And it's a deadly snake, It is actually, this snake has a name. His name is Taksha. And Taksha is actually the king of the snakes, king of Nagas. He's very,
all birds.
but he's the king. He's the king of the Nagas. He's the king of the snakes.
Maharaja, sir, is my swimming teacher's name.
Yeah. So he, if anyone gets bit by this snake bird, that person dies immediately. Yeah.
Not even 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the moment Shringi kind of cursed King Pariksit, he realized that he's again not done the right thing, and he regretted.
So Pariksit could curse him back.
Yeah, but Pariksit is very tolerant. We said he's very humble. He's very compassionate. He will never do anything to reverse the curse. He will take it in his stride. We'll see how he does that. Okay, later.
He means of sage was so now maybe Shringi will maybe change the curse a bit or something.
Yeah, let's see what Shringi does. So Shringi, he was regretting the curse that he just now uttered, but then out of that regret, he started wailing, he started crying, and he reached the hermitage, and he reached his father, who was sitting in meditation, and he saw his father was still sitting in meditation. So not that Shamika Rishi was pretending, he was actually in trance, he was actually meditating, he was fully concentrating his mind, right? So when he saw his father concentrating and meditating like that, he started crying, because he realized that he's not done the right thing, right? And then when sometimes you feel that you've done such a big offense, or you've done something right, you start crying. So he started crying, and his father, definitely, when he heard that his son is crying, he opened his eyes and he asked him, "What happened, Shringi? Why are you crying?" Then Shringi related the entire story to his father, and his father, Shamika Rishi, was so shocked, and his mouth fell open. He said, "What? What did you do? What have you done? You have cursed somebody who's so qualified as a king." And you know what? This king, this particular king Parikshit, he's actually keeping Kali at bay, because Kali has such bad qualities which Vyasa had seen, remember last class? And but because of King Parikshit, Kali is not entering our kingdom, because he's so strong that he's keeping all the bad qualities away. And you curse such a king, so you have awarded a very heavy punishment for such a slight mistake, for such a slight thing. For such a small thing, you have given him such a great punishment. You shouldn't have done this. And he also told him the real position of a king. The king is actually not an ordinary person, you know, the rightful king. In those days, there were these rightful kings. They were called Raja Rishis. Raja Rishis means they are also managing their kingdom, but at the same time, they are very, very spiritual also. And they are teaching their citizens also how to become spiritual and also do their material duties. So both of them, both the things they're trying to integrate. The material duties also and your spiritual duties also. So both these dharmas they're trying to teach the citizens. So the citizens also eventually they also become devotees like the king, because the king is teaching them the right way to live. Okay, so you kind of insulted and you cursed that kind of a king. He's not an ordinary person. He's a representative of God. He's a representative of the God, because God has actually given the king a lot of responsibilities. So the king is doing those responsibilities which he has been given by God. Okay, so definitely, you've not done the right thing. And he's such a, our state, our kingdom is so prosperous. Why? Because of King Parikshit. There was nothing that the kingdom was lacking, be it riches, opulences, everything the kingdom had. And now that you have cursed the king, the king is going to die in 7 days. There's going to be chaos all over, because Kali is going to enter. Kali means what? All the bad qualities are going to enter into people's mind, and then that is going to lead into wrong actions, right? So people are going to do wrong actions, they're going to do criminal acts. Right now nothing like that was happening. It was very peaceful. There were no thieves, there was no lying, there was so much of honesty because of King Parikshit. But now things are going to change because of your curse. So you didn't do the right thing. And Shringi was quiet. All this time Shringi was quiet and he was listening to his father. He was a young boy. But he was listening to his father. He was not arguing, he was not answering back, because he knew that he had done something wrong. He knew his fault, he realized his fault. And his father had instructed him many, many times that you should not get angry. He knew that his father did not appreciate, and his father, he never saw his own father getting angry. Right? So he knew that his father was teaching him through his own actions. Right? And Shamaka Rishi also knew that King Parikshit, as Tanya was saying, that King Parikshit should have cursed Shringi back. But Shamaka Rishi knew that King Parikshit will never do that. He will never retaliate like that. He will never do wrong. Even if wrong is done to him, he will never do wrong in return. He knew the character of King Parikshit. Right? And because he was a devotee of Krishna, he had no envy. He had no jealousy. Like, even if somebody's cursed him to die, he will not take his revenge on him. This Shamik Rishi knew about King Parikshit. So this is what is going on in the hermitage. And when King Parikshit goes back to his palace in Hastinapur, he also realizes that he did not do the right thing by putting the snake on the Rishi's neck, right? He also realizes, and he's actually repenting. He's thinking that this was not the right thing to do.
If
And
somebody put a snake on my in my neck, I would like freak out. actually
Yeah.
like snake though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but still,
But he
looking
was
at it,
he was
I
not
agree.
like he couldn't see it, right? I mean, his eyes were closed. He was in meditation. So yeah, but if it really happens to us, then we'll run away. I would just shriek and run away, right?
If I was reading a book though, or if I was sleeping, then I wouldn't even notice it.
Yeah, exactly. So Parikshit realizes it, and then he gets to know about the curse. And what does he? What do you think he does? I mean, does he panic? Does he run?
I think he will panic.
Yeah, that's the usual.
No, but I think because of his traits, he will think I deserve it, and for what I've done, I deserve it. Like
Very intelligent.
He'll go
very
to
good.
a person called Shukadeva Goswami, and then he'll tell him to tell the whole Bhagavatam to him.
Yeah, so exactly. He leaves the kingdom, and as I told you, he had very able sons, remember? And he will ask his sons to take over the kingdom. He'll detach himself fully, he'll give everything to his sons. His sons are very able, they'll take care of the kingdom, and he will look for a teacher, because he needs answers that what should I do? I have only 7 days. Now, what should I do that will actually connect me to Krishna? Okay?
Right.
Yeah?
think you can call. I was just thinking that I think he will go to Krishna and say that in 7 days that sweet bird will come and bite.
But Krishna is not even there right now.
yeah.
He hasn't been able to find Krishna. He's finding him everywhere, but he hasn't been
Krishna
able
has disappeared from the planet.
So, so what he does, so when you really want to find answers, then Krishna also helps you in a way of finding your teacher, your mentors. Like if I want to learn something, I actually look for teacher, right? I look for a teacher. So similarly, when you want to know about spiritual knowledge, you have to go and ask a spiritual teacher. So he really looks for a spiritual teacher, and at that moment, there's a spiritual teacher. His name is Shukadev Goswami. So Shukadev Goswami enters his kingdom at that moment, and Parikshit meets Shukadev Goswami, and he wants to know about Krishna and about Krishna's pastimes and his pastimes with his devotees.
Shukadeva Goswami narrates the whole Bhagavatam.
Yeah, and then he requests, very humbly, he requests his teacher that if you could relate the entire Srimad Bhagavatam to me. So Parikshit Maharaj, who was feeling so thirsty, for 7 days, he's listening to Srimad Bhagavatam day and night without having any water or food, right? So look at the change in him. When you listen to these, topics about Krishna, you actually forget everything else, right? And then he's totally accepted the curse, and he finds that this curse was actually Lord's arrangement, because he's now got the opportunity to know Krishna, right? He's always wanting to know about Krishna, right? From the day he was, not even the day he was born, before he was born also, in the womb, he always wanted to know who's this personality, who's this beautiful person. Now he's got full opportunity for full 7
So
days.
he was really happy that he got the
Yeah, so in a way, he was not,
sad.
it was an opportunity for him.
grateful.
Yeah, he was
He
grateful.
was not.
And he was using this opportunity to know about Krishna. So I'll ask you a few questions now, just to see how much how much more you want to know about Krishna and his devotee Parikshit. So what do you think, why did King Parikshit get angry? Yes, tell me, yeah.
Because he was a king and he was very thirsty, and as king he was used to getting water whenever he wanted and getting greeted by everyone, whoever he met. But since the rishi was in a deep meditation, he could not welcome the king and he didn't even know the king was there. So the king felt ignored, and for the first time he felt like he was not that important.
Very good observation. Very nice. Thank you so much. Yes, Kapil?
He got angry because the visitor didn't, the resident of the small cottage, the rishi, he didn't welcome him or give him some water or do something. So he felt ignored, and he took his bow, and then he took the snake and wrapped it around his neck, and then he went back to the kingdom.
Yes, very good answer. Excellent, right? Absolutely.
I think King Pariksit got angry because the rishi was not welcoming him or greeting him because he was in such deep meditation, and King Pariksit thought he was just pretending to like ignore the king, but he was actually in such deep meditation that he couldn't notice.
True, absolutely. Now, next question. Do you think Shringi's curse was fair?
No.
Any reasons why you don't think?
Because he just did it for nothing. Because he was like getting angry for no reason. Like Pariksit put the snake around that his father's neck, but that was not such a big deal because when Shringi gives such a big curse, it's like not he shouldn't have given it.
Okay.
So I think the boy who was seeing from the bushes, who told Shringi, didn't see the whole story. So Shringi must have thought that the Pariksit did the snake around his father for no reason. But still, as he was a Brahman and a devotee, and his father had taught him to be calm, he should have either not at all done it, or either forgive Pariksit and go to his father to ask him what's the right decision.
Very good observation. Very good. So impressed. You wanted to say something, Hanu?
I just wanted to say that Shringi's curse wasn't fair because he misunderstood it. He didn't think before he reacted.
Very good. Yes. And how do you feel when you make a mistake also?
Guilty.
I feel scared for some reason.
You feel scared because of the the consequences maybe.
I feel like I could have done better, and instead I will not do it next time. Also, I have to do whatever I can do to undo what I did.
Good.
I would say sorry, and I would never do it again, and I feel guilty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And suppose there's a situation like somebody comes to your house as a guest and breaks your toy. How will you